Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. I am Josh Lander, and we are doing things a little bit differently for this video as Nate and I are recording separately here today, covering NBA player props, and this one from Saturday's Western Conference Finals Game 3. Continue to follow along by liking and subscribe to that page. We're also bringing you some best bets from today's games. Also going to be bringing you best bets and player props for Sunday's game in the Eastern Conference Finals Game 3, as well as the Heat are up 2-0 in that one. So continue to follow along with us. Also head to thelines.com. Check out the picks that we are putting up on the site as well, and use that odds finder tool I always tell you guys about. It's a nice chart there that we have up for you so you can see all of the odds available to you from all of the books that are giving us bets on these games and player props moving forward. I did pretty well on the player props and best bets that I combined. Went 500 in that one. Actually lost like 0.2 units in the last game there because the Nuggets could not cover the 5.5. They barely did not, obviously only winning by 5. So either way, glad to have Nate back, and I'm going to toss to him for his first NBA player prop for Saturday.
Yeah, I feel the safest bet here is Austin Reaves, actually. Not either LeBron or Anthony Davis, Anthony every other Davis, who, is due for a big game if you're following that model. But I'm not going to bet on him at this point. I think Austin Reaves has become an integral part of this Lakers team, and that's why you've seen him play 39 minutes per game in this series, averaging 22.5 points and 6.5 assists. So looking at 20.5 assists, this is over under here. That's why you're getting minus 115 odds. Pretty good safe bet, though, I feel, for him to top that for once again. In his last 5, he's done it. He's averaging 21 points and 5.5 assists since the end of that Warriors series, where it was really just a worse matchup for him for a number of reasons. Defensively, struggling at times to stay on the floor, but against Denver, I mean, they're not really attacking the shooting guard as much. It's more about the guys on Murray and Jokic, obviously. So Reaves is able to stay out there. He's again playing nearly 40 minutes a game in these first 2, and been very effective. 50% from the floor, 56% from deep. He's been a plus 10 in those 39 minutes. So it's basically, kind of another head scratcher at how the Lakers lost both those games, but the Denver defense is worse on the road. In these playoffs, it's 116 is their defensive rating. They allow 49% field goal shooting versus 46% at home. They allow a couple more assists. Reaves, again, going up with this matchup, he actually had a huge triple-double, his only triple-double in his career in late April last season, in a meaningless game. But he dropped 31, 16, and 10 against Denver, so clearly enjoys kind of playing in this matchup. And more importantly, I mean, he's just going to have the ball in his hands more because D'Angelo Russell can't really stay on the floor at this so far in the series. The Nuggets are just going right at him and getting him out of there. And Dennis Schroeder hasn't been much more effective. So it's been a lot of LeBron and Reaves running the offense. And LeBron twisted his ankle on top of having that foot injury. So I think you get a little bit more of a nod towards Reaves. I do also like LeBron to get 8 dimes, but the odds aren't. They're like minus 125 on that. But, LeBron and Reaves, I think, will both have effective games here. Even though I do like under in this game to a degree, I just think that you follow the minutes and that those guys will maintain their production.
Love Austin Reaves' pick from Nate, as he probably knows because he was following along from the road. When I was making my picks, I took Austin Reaves as well in that one to get over 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I'm fine going back with the assist for him. I like adding all of it together as well, continuing to and moving forward. I think even the 16.5 points, like he's probably going to continue to get close to 20. He's playing 42 minutes and obviously has a really nice usage rate. Continue to talk about how often he's being used as a part of the pick and roll, especially with LeBron James. It's lethal. People are laughing at it, but it's lethal, and he's going to get paid this summer. So I'm going to move on to another Laker, though, because I think it's a very interesting pick. After I don't know how many times in my life that I've felt so sure that someone was going to go under one game and then really confident in them to go over in the next one. I'm talking about D'Lo right now, D'Angelo Russell. I love, most importantly, the over 1.5 threes for him in this game. For him to make 2 threes is minus 115 on DraftKings. I'm putting a unit and a half on it because I love it. And I'm also going to put another little half, or actually a full unit on him to get over 13.5 points in this game, which is about even money on DraftKings. I will say, while leading into that game too, I was very confident in D'Lo to go under at least the points, rebounds, and assists. He actually went under on the points, most importantly, as he only got 10 on some not very good shooting, only 1 for 5 from three, and only five, 3 for 8 from the field. So, he did fine to help us out there. We got under pretty comfortably, actually. Well, not about three, decently comfortable. It wasn't too much of a sweat. He got us under. But the thing that I was worried about after reading some stuff about D'Lo was that Darvin Ham is a coach who believes in his players, and Darvin Ham believed in D'Lo even after all of the talk was Bruce Brown calling out D'Lo, saying they were trying to attack him, and that they were trying to get him off the floor, which is somewhat of a compliment. They were trying to get him off the floor because of how hot he can get from deep, and I think that's what Bruce Brown meant more than anything. But it just turned into like we were targeting him because he sucks on defense, and he does suck on defense. So that was a fair point. But Darvin Ham believes in him and told him after game one rather, I don't need you to be the best defensive player on the floor. I just need you to score. I need you to rebound. And he did get a bunch of boards. He got 3, he got 5 assists. And he was really aggressive when he was shooting and was someone that kept the flow of the offense moving for the Lakers, taking the right shots within the flow of the offense. A few questionable shots, but for the most part, playing pretty well on offense. He just didn't hit the shots in that game. But I was a little bit worried after realizing that Ham was not going to just sit him no matter what. He played about 33 minutes in game 2 there. So Ham showing us that like he's still going to play Russell, even if the narrative that's being created and the narrative that's sort of present objectively is that he's bad at defense, and he has been with 168 individual defensive rating in game 1. Like he is a bad defender, but he brings value to this team in other ways on offense and does things that most other guys on this team don't do, which is shoot the 3 off the dribble. I mean, obviously Autsin Reaves is the other guy that you feel comfortable doing that on this team, but that's pretty much it, especially because Malik Beasley is unplayable now. So, he's going to continue to get out there to bring them that 3-point dimension. And most importantly, y'all, he is so much better at home, especially in the playoffs, where he's scoring 18 points per game at home versus 12 per game on the road. He's making 2.8 threes, so basically 3 threes on 7.2 attempts. That's good for 39.5% from deep. So if he's going to get 7 attempts and he's going to make 2, let's put it that way. And versus on the road where he's making 1.1 threes per game in these playoffs on 4.6 attempts, much fewer. And that's still only 24% from deep on the road compared to, like I said, about 40% at home. So I feel really good about him coming out. I mean, I feel great about the 2 threes. There's probably some really good juice you can get for 4 threes if you want to bump it up. I think you should definitely be targeting D'Lo in this game to hit the threes for sure. And then the points will probably follow. But I think the most important bet for me here is him to hit at least 2 threes. And if you want to juke that up, by all means, like it's very likely that he hits, it's very possible and almost likely that he hits 3 or 4 in this one.
Okay, yeah. Aaron Gordon, 5.5 rebounds, -111 at FanDuel. I would put a unit on that, maybe a unit and a half if you do feel chesty. But I mean, as I always say, rebounds are a bit dicey. They bounce different ways, but that's why I'm banking on positive regression after he's had only 7 boards in the first 2 games of this series. He's played 37.5 minutes. He's been a plus 15, so he's obviously got to stay on the floor. I mean, he's absolutely vital for the Nuggets in terms of guarding either Davis or LeBron. And maybe that's why he hasn't gotten as many boards, because he's been the primary defender, and then it's hard to get the rebounds. But it's going to revert closer to the norm here, which is to say per 36 minutes, he gets 8 rebounds. And he's also had 6+ rebounds in 9 of his last 10 playoff games before this series. So 6 being the target here is not that out of the norm. And I mean, the Lakers, I do like under in this game as they go back home. I think it's going to be more of a physical, low-scoring game. The Lakers, regardless of where they're playing, are allowing the 3rd most boards per game in these playoffs, 47 per game, including the 2nd most offensive rebounds per game when they're at home. They're giving up 15 offensive rebounds. So Gordon is that energy guy. He's going to be slashing, crashing the glass at times. He's, again, indispensable for his defense. Only played 30 minutes per game in his last 5 regular season against the Lakers, but still got 7.2 rebounds in those games. So along with 14.2 points, I'm not messing with the points because his usage rate is so low, but I also think these rebounds are low. It's just assigned kind of because of what we saw in those first 2 games. But look, Jokic isn't going to grab 17 every game. Maybe he will actually again in this game, but I think it will be low scoring enough. There will be enough missed shots for Gordon to also get 6 or more, or 7, 8 easily. if that's just the way the ball bounces. And so that's why I'm going with that one as well.
I'm going to finish off this player props video talking about another guy who I faded in game 2, and I'm coming back to him in game 3, and that is Anthony every other Davis, because he played so poorly offensively in game 2. I'm going over on his points tonight for Saturday's game, over 24.5. You can still get that for minus 105 on BetMGM, putting a full unit on it. I mean, look, let's just be honest. He has created a pattern that is not every single game, but basically if he doesn't score 20 points, this is a pattern. If he doesn't score 20 points in these playoffs, the very next game he comes back and he scores at least 30 or 25, at least 25. So, in this one for him to get 25 feels like a pretty solid play. Coming back home, just scored 18 points in game 2. That was following 40 points in game 1. The Lakers are going to come out firing. I mean, it's got to feel like a little bit closer to the end than it normally would. Like, how far away is LeBron James from being sort of like the wily veteran that's just trying to chase another ring before he retires? Like a couple years at the most. And that's wildly impressive. But the point is like this iteration of LeBron with this iteration of AD and a really solid cast at this point, and Autsin Reaves, one of the more underpaid players for his value right now. Like how long are they going to have this core squad together? I think they feel that pressure, and AD is a guy who has responded to that pressure, even though he has more time left in this league probably than LeBron. If he can stay healthy, he's got enough years, that he's younger than LeBron. Like he does bring it in these situations for LeBron and a little bit for himself as well, obviously, knowing that time is not always on his side, especially with the injuries he's incurred. But point being, like when he scored less than 20 points, which has been 5 times in this playoffs before this last game too, the following 5 games after he did score less than 20 points each time, 31.5 points per game in those 5 games ensuing. That's in 38.5 minutes per game over those 5, and that's with a 28.5% usage rate over those 5. He's getting to the line 9 times a game. One of those was against the Grizzlies, where he got 30 points with just 3 free throw attempts. You look at the other 3 games, and he's averaging 11 free throw attempts per game. So, like, there's a lot of reason to believe in him outside of just that there's this correlation. I mean, there's something to when he is and is not, there's something to being able to predict when he is and is not going to be bringing it in a game. And this is just a backs against the wall situation where like he should have more in his tank than LeBron will. And it is a good matchup for him as they look to continue to try to kill Joker on defense, to at least try to wear him out as much as you can, which I don't think will work that well. I do think Joker's in line for another solid game on the road. But that's also why I just like points in this game. So AD to get 25, like I don't necessarily want to mess with the rebounds when it's all the way up at 13.5 for him, just like it is for Joker. So I think going with the points with AD in this one, as he continues to show like he gets 25 at least and 30 in 4 of those 5 when, in one game after not scoring 20 points. So that is all the time we have for you in this Playa Props video. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Check out the best bets video we have up for you, and stay tuned for Sunday's best bets and player props. And until we see you next, happy betting.